Hello, folks. Welcome to Studio Nicole. I'm Nicole, and I'm so glad that you're here. Today, I am going to work on days 21, 22, 23, 24, and 25. I could have just said 21 to 25, couldn't I? Sorry. It's kind of late, actually. It's like almost 10 o'clock at night, and it has been a long day. But I know that I'm not going to get much time in the studio over the next couple of days. And so I wanted to um, spend some time today getting caught up. And so I'm probably not in the best, I'm not the most, like energetic and fresh that I'll ever be in the studio, but that's okay. We show up and recreate anyway, right? Sometimes even when we're tired, even when we're a little bit fried because it's been a long day. Yeah. So I am in the process of building a collage tissue paper base. I have selected these black and white tissue patterns. Um, and I'm going to kind of try to layer them on the page a little bit so that they cover most of the page. And then I'm going to just glue them down with my trusty matte medium. And we'll go from there. I hope that it doesn't end up being too dark. I'm going to go for kind of a monochromatic look. I'm aiming for black, white, and some metallic accents. Um, so this is going to be a slightly different look for me. This is not my usual style of art journaling. Um, but there's always room to grow. So that's what we're doing. I think I'm just going to glue it down like that. How's that look? Maybe not. Maybe I need a little bit of this down here in the background. And then a little bit more of this up here. Yeah, that's a little better. Okay. All right. I've got my big paintbrush and I'm going to be not very precise with this. I'm going to just kind of stick it down and go with it. However it ends up, it'll be fine. I'm not going to be too precious. Those of you who have been around for a little while will recognize that as my standard strategy. I'm not really very careful or precise or precious with really anything, honestly. It's just not my MO. I feel like when I am doing art that I have to be very careful about, like if I'm trying to do a line drawing and I'm working on some really fiddly little details and trying to get it exactly right, there is some value, obviously, in that, of course, but it feels more like work than play to me. And right now, art is not my job. This is playtime. This is call it a hobby, call it a creative outlet, call it downtime, call it mental health um, practice, call it what you want. It's definitely not, it's not work and I don't want it to be work. Even when I am doing it like as a paid workshop instructor, it still doesn't feel like work to me. And I guess the day that it does start feeling like work is probably the day that I will not enjoy doing it as much, right? Isn't that how it goes? Um, so yeah. So there are plenty of things in this world that I do take my time and care and pay attention to detail with, and I'm an English teacher by trade, I guess. So if you want to talk to me about grammar rules and commas, I can argue with you all day about the Oxford comma and where it belongs and what the APA 7th edition citation rules are. But I don't want to do that in my free time. I want my free time to feel very different from that. And so that's precisely why I approach art the way that I do. And I hope that you guys will be free to do that as well. I think a lot of the reason why people don't pursue art when maybe they could or would is because they are afraid that it will feel like work and that they will feel like they're not good enough at it. And we don't want that. So here's what I have as a background. It is a very messy black and white collage tissue background. I am going to remember to put the lid on my Mod Podge. It's not Mod Podge, it's golden matte medium. Similar vibe. And I'm going to pause you and dry this for a second. Great. I am back with a dry, mostly dry background page, and I'm moving on to my next day, day 22, and I'm going to be using a mark making technique, prompt number 32, charcoal smudging. I'm really leaning into the black and white feel. So I have this giant charcoal stick here. I used to do a lot of like line drawing and charcoal. Um, that gives me like chills. Uh, but it's been a really long time since I've done that. And so these supplies have just been sitting on my shelf for a very long time, kind of being unused. And so I was excited to pick up this charcoal stick that I haven't used in a long time. It does give just a nice darkened edge to the page. Now, if you are looking for a little grunge on your page, a charcoal stick is an excellent, excellent tool to accomplish that. I'm kind of going around the outside edge instead of across the middle because I do want there to be some variation. I like these lighter areas. Yeah, I might kind of darken some of them up, but I don't want the whole thing to be completely um, like the same tone. So I want some lighter areas and some darker areas. And so this has been kind of fun to play with, this charcoal smudging technique. If you haven't tried this, I definitely suggest you get a charcoal stick and play around a little bit with it. It's a lot of fun. All right. I am probably going to apply a quick layer of fixative over this so that the charcoal doesn't continue to rub off everywhere. I will be right back. It is dried. This is what I used, clear acrylic sealer. This is absolutely an outside product. Do not, whatever you do, hold your breath and spray it for 2 seconds in the middle of your studio. It will give you a headache. Sorry, trying to put that back on the shelf. Yeah, it will give you a headache. I can assure you that that's what will happen. Um, okay, so let's see. I've got charcoal smudging done. So let me mark off collage tissue base. And now we are going to move on to mixed media and layering. Now, I obviously looked at these ahead of time and tried. I'm so sorry about this. For those of you who missed it, this is what is it? Golden liquid acrylic. This is not like blood or anything else. It kind of went flinging when I was trying to like shake a bottle of paint up. So I will reprint another one of these someday, I promise. I looked at these ahead of time and I'm picking out number 49, metallic leaf accent. And for the focal image, a botanical illustration focus. So I think these two things will go well together. I can do leaf accents and a botanical illustration, and that can kind of serve for both prompts. Now, I don't know if I have any metal leaves, I guess, is the plural. But I do have metallic embossing powder. So this is what I'm going to use. I'm going to use this stamp, and I'm going to use these as the leaves and these as the botanical illustration. And I'm going to stamp them onto white paper, and I'm going to use my gold embossing powder. You can tell that I use gold more than anything else because it's almost empty. Like, I can't turn this sideways and capture how empty it is, but it's very close to being empty compared to like almost every other color that I own, which is like full because I never use any of the other colors. Even the black and the white is mostly full compared to the gold. Gold is by far my favorite. All right. If you've never played with embossing powder, that's another uh that's another life goal to aim for because it's so much fun. What am I doing? I have some random copy paper over here. I'm going to use this. I'm going to try something a little bit different because when I stamp with the embossing ink, it's almost clear. I know it looks like there's a lot of ink on this ink pad, a lot of like colored ink, but it shows up pretty much clear. Um, so I'm gonna try to kind of like layer it with another ink and see if that works. So the embossing ink is like extra sticky and it holds the embossing powder. But because it's clear, it's hard to see where you've stamped on the page. So I thought that I would just grab another ink pad and I'm gonna just do a really quick um, little bit of additional color and we'll see how this works. I don't know. Maybe I'll see the pink and I'll hate it. Um, so just stamping this off onto some blank paper. Clearly it's showing up in pink. Hopefully the embossing ink, there's enough of that on there that it will hold on to the embossing powder. Let's see if this works. All right. I am being brave here. I don't have a paper underneath here to catch the embossing powder. Okay, here we go. Oh, it kind of worked. It also kind of still looks pink. Maybe I don't love that. Maybe I shouldn't have used pink. Maybe I should have just used, well, I have a gold one. Maybe the gold will work better. I'm just running the powder across it one more time to see if it sticks better, and it did not. You probably can't see on screen, but there's still lots of pink. And of course, look what I did. Dumped embossing powder all over my table. Oh well, life is short, folks. Let's clean it up. Perfect. Problem solved. Okay, I'm going to pause the recording. I'm going to try using my heat tool on this, and I'll be right back. So this is mostly working. I've ended up with the gold accent, and there's just little hints of pink kind of in the background. And I kind of like it. It doesn't bother me. I don't hate it. So I'm going to do some more. I'll probably just speed this part up so you don't have to sit through the whole multi-step process. And I'm just going to create several of these and then I'm going to cut them out. I'll be back in just a minute. Okay, I am going to I'm not going to make you watch me stamp all of these out and then they don't work because I stamped all of them and then I tried to use the embossing powder. And usually the embossing ink stays sticky long enough. But I think because I was using the other ink like over top of it, the ink just dried too fast. So I'm going to redo these a second time, only I'm going to do them just with the embossing ink and hopefully I'll just be able to see it on the page. And I will let you watch this part super sped up instead of the one that didn't work. Okay, folks, I am back, and the second time around it worked much, much better. Now, I made many more of these than I will actually use, and I did that on purpose because while I have the stamp out and the embossing powder, it's just as easy to do 4 of them as it is to do 1. And then I'll have them in the future if I want to use them on another project. So that's just a little productivity hack for you um, from somebody who definitely strives for efficiency. Because I'm doing 8 million things on any given day, I have learned how to be efficient. That doesn't necessarily mean less fun, right? It just means efficient fun. Like these embossed leaves will be just as pretty and just as much fun on a future layout, even if I'm not making them in the moment, even if they are already made and waiting for me. They just might inspire me to make something that I wasn't expecting in the future. So it'll be fun to have them just waiting for me in my stash at some future point. I'm not going to cut them all out today. Um, or at least not while I'm recording. I might take them in the other room and just sit in front of the TV and record. I mean, not record, sorry, sit in front of the TV and just watch TV and cut out, which is a thing that I like to do. I often feel the need to have my hands busy when I'm just sitting watching TV. So this is definitely something I could do. Now, I really think that this gold is going to look awesome against this black and white background. And I'm very excited to kind of cluster some of these pieces together. So I'm going to cut a few of these out. Obviously, this one kind of went off the edge. I was not very careful when I was stamping it. But yeah, I'm kind of excited about how this is turning out. I'm going to make a little bouquet kind of floating on the page here. The gold, I think, will stand out nicely. All right. How is everyone's March? It is cold and rainy today. Let's see if we can get a couple of these left. It is cold and rainy today. We're supposed to have a really bad storm, and I think it has missed us. I have not been watching the news. So I'm not sure if it is just hitting farther to the west of where we are. I hope for anyone who is in that area, I hope that the damage is minimal and that no one gets hurt. I really do have a lot of like stress and anxiety around extreme weather. I think with the climate changing the way that it is, we can't really like ignore the fact that the storms are getting worse, the colds are getting colder, and the hot temperatures are getting hotter, and it is just doing more damage, I think, than it used to. I'll tell you, I read I think it was Dark Matter by Blake Crouch. I'm a big reader. Um, for those of you who don't already know that. And a few years ago, I read that one. And there's a scene in there. If you've read the book, you'll know exactly what I'm talking about, where they're all like, they find themselves in a particular dimension that has endured like a massive snowstorm. And that scene lives rent free in my head. For years, that has lived in my head, and I don't love it. I don't want to put the matte medium over top of the gold accents because they will dull the shine of the gold. So I am going to just use a regular glue stick, and um, I'm going to just lay them down upside down, use the glue stick on the back of them, and then place them where they need to be. I kind of like this bouquet sort of radiating out from a central point. I thought about putting in something to act as like a vase for them to all uh, sort of originate from, but I don't want to. That's my only answer. I don't have a good answer for why I don't want to do it. I just know that I don't want to do it. So I'm not going to do it. This glue stick is not perfect, but hopefully it will do the job. If I have to come back in later with a different kind of glue and kind of secure the edges, then I can do that if I need to. I'm going to give myself some space. I want this one to sort of be in the middle, and so I'm trying to place the other ones far enough out that there will be room for that this piece in the middle to kind of like take center stage. So this is my placement. All right, and this one is going to go back in the center. So this is 4 days worth so far. And then the last thing that I need to do is find the text element that I'm going to add to the page. I do always like to have a text element, and it doesn't always end up being a focal point. I feel like over the past few years, I've kind of gotten into that habit where every page of mine has like a title or something that really stands out as being a caption. But this process, so these 2 pages, for example, don't have that. And I kind of like it. I sort of like back to, the text element can be a little bit more subtle. I'm just going to glue this little piece of paper down. All right, so here's what I have so far. I really enjoy these metallic elements. Now, they're definitely not metal leaf accents, but I think the metallic embossing powder certainly serves the purpose in a way that honors the prompt. And I'm satisfied with it, and that's really all that matters. If you don't like it, then you can go watch a different video. No, that's mean. I'm so sorry. Please don't do that. Please stay. I hope you like it. All right, so the last thing that I want to do is now I'm going to add my text, and I have to find my prompts now. Here they are. And my pen. So that was Metal Leaf Accent, prompt number 49, and number 92, Botanical Illustration Focus as a focal image. And the last thing that I've marked is number 61, Margin Journaling. And the idea there is that we're just going to journal around the outside edge. I'm using this in place of a margin since I don't have a real margin on the page. I'm gonna call it this edge right here is the margin. Now I could use my black pen and journal, but the black is not going to show up well in these areas where the darker tissue paper um, takes up that space. So I thought to tie in this focal image in gold, I thought I could maybe do my journaling in a gold pen around the edge. What do we think? How do we feel about that? I'm going to try out a couple of different gold pens and we'll see what we've got. I have this Faber-Castell Pitt Artist Pen in gold. Just, it doesn't look very metallic to me. So that one's out. I will tell you the most metallic pen that I have is this like chrome marker, liquid chromium. And these pens are phenomenal in terms of the shine that you get. I don't know if you can see on camera. Do you see that? How that shines? So rather than try out all of these other gold pens that I have, I think I'm just going to go straight to this because I know it's going to work. It is a little bit of a bigger nib than I would like for a page like this, but I'm just going to use the tip of it. And again, when I journal, I really don't need to be able to read it later. I am always just trying to get, whatever is going on in my life today, I just try to get it out. And I put it on the page and I let it go. And that really helps me to not hold on to things. And so it doesn't matter if I'm able to come back to it later. I don't want to come back to it later. As a matter of fact, I would rather it just go and be gone forever. Especially, those negative or like difficult feelings that you sometimes have to take some time to process. So I'll speed you up for this part and you'll just be able to see what it looks like at the end. Right, here's what I've got. I have my gold journaling around the edge. I think that it makes a nice frame for the page. The gold accents and the botanical elements and the leaves really stand out. I love that they're very kind of abstract looking, and this page just makes me happy. I wasn't sure what I was going to end up with when I started this. You never know how the prompts are all going to come together. Um, but I like it. I like how it turned out. What do you think, folks? Tell me what you think. This is day 21 through 25 of the 100 days of art journaling techniques. I will write the days and the prompts on the back of this page, and I'll include that in the video so you can see exactly what I did. And I would love to hear what you think about it. Like, subscribe, and I will see you in the next video, folks. Have a great night.